All right, what's up, YouTube? What's up to the podcast? This is Lamika with the Fruition Factor Podcast. I am back bringing you another amazing entrepreneur, and I'm going to let her introduce herself because there's so many amazing things that she does, so I don't want to mess up the introduction. But my guest today is Jules Hicks, and I want her to share who she is as an entrepreneur. And welcome to the Fruition Factor Podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Lamika. My name is Jules Hicks, and I have a couple different companies. This one, the shirt that I have on today, is Aunt Ida's house. And my mom and I started this business. It's a family business. We got into it because of the need that we ran into with the transition of my grandparents out of their home into a senior living community. And we wanted to make that better because that's a hard transition for all families. And so you and I met through a conference to help us make our businesses better. So that's what I
Yeah,
got.
that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that that's how Aunt Ida's house came to be, was because of your grandparents. Like I don't think I realized that part of it.
Yeah. So originally it was going to be named after my grandmother, which her name is Shirley. But the state of Texas said, sorry, you can't have Shirley's house. There's already one in existence. It's already in the senior living space. Come up with a new name. And I was like, oh, all right, fine. So we looked through some other names that are older names that you may, I got to go to Aunt Ida's house. I got to go to Aunt Shirley's house. And come to find out, I have a great Aunt Ida in my family. And so we
Worked
looked
out.
up we looked it up. We're like, okay, this doesn't exist. We're sold. It's ours. And the state of Texas agreed. They're like, yeah, you can have that name.
That's pretty
So
cool.
yeah.
That's another connection point. My grandmother's name was Shirley as well. And she was
Oh
my
no.
it was my mom's mom. So that's a whole nother connection
Yes,
point.
it's my mother's mother. It's that's the one
Wow.
that I grew up with the most,
Mhm,
and so
mhm.
it's Grandma Shirley, Grandma Shirley, Grandma
That's
Shirley. So
exactly what we got. Yes, I totally get it.
yeah,
That's pretty cool. So yeah, so with the fruition factor, I love talking to entrepreneurs who move forward with their ideas. And like you said, we met at a conference where we were working on our business, to get some systems in place. And so, first of all, your name was cool, and I was like, I just gotta go talk to her because I like her name was cool. Her name was cool. And then you asked some good questions. And so I wanted to make sure that I connected with you just to get an understanding. I just like understanding what drives other entrepreneurs and what makes you push forward with your idea. What made you push forward with Aunt Ida's house? Because you already had an obstacle of a name. So there's one thing you had to overcome. So
yeah, oh yeah.
what made you push through with it?
So I lived in corporate America world for about 15 years, and my mother and I had always we get along very well. We have complementary assets. Like she's really good over here, I'm really good over here, and so we always wanted to do a business together. We didn't know what it was. We tried a few other things, and it just didn't quite stick over the years. And
Mhm,
finally, it was after I worked for the cable company. Once they were bought out, you started to see how things were changing,
mhm,
and I just got pretty disappointed in how everybody was being treated. I couldn't protect my team.
mhm,
I couldn't run my little business the way I would want to be treated as a human being. And I was like,
mhm,
I don't know if this is for me.
mhm,
And I had gone to a personal development conference a few years ago, and I wrote down one of my goals was I want to help people. I didn't know what that meant. Um, I didn't know how that would come to fruition, but I always knew I wanted to positively, directly impact a human being.
mhm,
And when you work for corporate America, you don't really get to do that. So Mom and I had been interested in real estate, and we didn't know there's many entries into real estate. So where do you even start?
Right.
And we actually started in the senior living space. We were going to create a community and build our own assisted living community. And I still think that's a very valid goal for many people. We decided it wasn't for us because we don't have a care background. And
Hmm.
um, we had to pivot away from that. But we knew that people were still going to have to leave their house and go into care. And that is really, really hard to do
Hmm.
because we've done it and it's just tough. And so we're like, we learned about this business model and we're like, oh, this is where we go. We're going to stop over here. We're going to focus on here. Um, I think you had asked like what keeps me going. I mean, it's that drive to help people, to
Hmm.
connect people have needs or people have needs. I
Hmm.
want to connect them to where they need to go. I want to buy their house, please. However, if I don't get to buy your house, I'm still going to tell you about an elder law attorney that can help you or
Hmm.
a placement agent that can help you find your space. I'm not going to
Hmm.
hold my cards and be like, sorry, you're not buying from me. I'm not giving you my resources.
Right.
I'm like, here you go. Here you go. Just throwing it out to the world because I know when I can help somebody else,
Hmm.
I'm going to get something in return at
Absolutely.
some point in time. It may not be immediate, and that's okay. But I'm very much a giver of here, you need some information. I can't help you, but these two other people can. Here you go. Have a good time.
Right. Right. I think that's pretty cool that you initially started out with saying, okay, we're going to build a facility, we're going to have it. Oh, maybe that's not our thing, but you still found another way to help people in that same industry.
Yeah.
How does that, I guess, what is, and so I completely resonate with that because somebody called me about they were trying to sell their mobile home, and but they bought this mobile home recently, and mobile homes are not like traditional homes. They don't appraise in value, like, especially when you move them and then you can't find a lender, and all those things. And so
Oh yeah.
I was just giving her this information. She was like, I have talked to so many people. You're the first person that just give it to me. You're not trying to, I don't feel like you're trying to scam me. I don't feel like you're trying to get anything from me. So I
Yeah.
totally resonate with just giving the information. If even if I can't help you, I still want you to be able to move forward with what your goal is.
Yeah.
So now that you guys are, I guess, you found the business that is complementary to both of you guys, like how do you move that forward?
Um, one project at a time. And a lot of it's scary. Frankly, it's scary. And I'm in the middle of some new stuff right now. And when something's new and you don't know all of the steps, you're like, oh no, can I do this? Uh, and I got to pick up the phone and talk to people. And I'm like, nah, I
Yeah.
gotta go. And
Yeah.
so it's feeling that nervousness, but still pushing through, not saying, oh no, I'm gonna stop because it's hard.
Hmm.
It's I'm nervous. I know I have resources. I know I'm in a good space. We keep going.
Hmm.
Just even if it's
Hmm.
just a little inch here and there, we'll get there.
Right.
It will be fine. And you know what? If I mess up with this one person communication, I can go talk to like five other people. It will be
Hmm.
fine.
Hmm.
I'm not going to die. Nobody's
Yeah.
dying here. Like it's okay. And it's being scared but moving forward anyways.
Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of times what I found with entrepreneurship and doing business is that people think I know because I'm doing it, and I have to quickly tell them I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just willing to push the button. Is
Right.
that's really the only difference. But a lot of times I get that, and I like to tell people up front, I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't want to leave. This is, we're both figuring this out at the same time. And
Yeah.
like you said, I have the support. I can go talk to five other people if this doesn't work out, and we'll just keep it pushing.
Yeah. I I like building relationships with people to that in areas that I don't have
Hmm.
proficiency at, because then I can pull the information from them and or send somebody their way. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I just need a little bit of information, or oh, that's really in depth. Well, great. I'm gonna send people your way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's all about
No,
relationships.
all about relationships. And everything that I've done is definitely about relationships. And that's one of the things that you and I talked about, because while neither one of us are in the same space, it's kind of like, okay, but I know people who are in need of your services. So it's like
Yeah,
I have just enough information to be dangerous to
right.
say I know exactly who you need to go to.
They,
So
yeah,
and that's the part I think a lot of times that people miss out on, is the building of the relationship. Even, even with us, I'm like, let's go to lunch. I want to know more about
yeah.
how I can help your business, type of a thing. Um, so that is good. So when you're helping somebody, when you get to someone that needs your help, how do you help them? You said you buy the homes, and if you're not able to buy the homes, and you're able to, I guess, help them transition to an assisted living, that kind of thing.
Well, so I buy in the as is space. So I go through and I walk the house. I take pictures. I work through my system, and I provide them. First and foremost is a cash offer. Most of my clients that I'm helping, they don't have time for the house to sit either um, to be a rental property, or they don't have time for it to go through a rehab. They need to get out of it just very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Owner financing, it's just those are usually not dispositions that these scenarios really can call for. Most of the
Mm-hmm.
time it's they need a cash offer. So I
Right.
leave them with a cash offer every time. And then if there's opportunity for other offers, I will provide that at when I get home. I'll
Mm-hmm.
make sure all my numbers are good, and I'll be like, okay, well, if you listed it, here's what you can list it for. And honestly, like most of the houses I see are not ready for the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just not. And the family, how I help the family is they need to move quickly. They need
Mm-hmm.
that cash right now. They don't have mom is sick and cannot, like, we can't focus on the house right now. That's
Mm-hmm.
cool. That's
Mm-hmm.
those are the scenarios that I buy in. That's where we really shine, is because these families don't have that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we give them an offer, and then I try to find out what additional things they need. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know where you're going? Oh, you don't? I have a few different people that I trust that will help you find your place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you need a moving company? I have to really have good moving company referrals, because they all need some sort of moving. And or estate sales. A lot of times they want to sell the stuff, because not all the stuff in that 2,000 square foot house will fit in a small 700 square foot room. Like, it just
Right.
doesn't, math doesn't work
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. And
Or
we collect a
physics,
lot of
but
stuff
yeah,
over
yeah.
time.
Oh, girl, we're looking at moving our house. I'm like, oh no. Huh. Yeah. That tree, that's got to go. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's sometimes it's overcoming some of those fears with those families. So giving them a couple different options, so they know they don't always have to follow the traditional way of getting a
Mm-hmm.
house on the market. A lot of
Right.
families don't know that, and they're
Yeah.
like, ah. So
Well, that's the thing that intrigued me, because like you said, real estate takes on, there's so many avenues that you can get into with real estate. And I hadn't heard of this way of real estate, or this particular niche or marketing of real estate. So it was really interesting. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, that makes complete sense. But most of the time the home something has already happened, and the home is there, and the kids are trying to figure out what to do with it,
yeah,
after the fact. That was always the way I looked at it. But I definitely like this way in being able to help them, because I have heard of, people going into facilities and they losing that home because they needed the money to be able to pay for it, but they would have been able to get more money for it had they sold it before something happens. So
yeah,
finding out about your company is definitely something that, um, now I'm like, oh,
Everybody
okay, yeah.
needs to know.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes, yes, yes. I know that presentation. I was like, wait a minute. This is, oh my God. I mean, like, it gives you a whole another perspective on, I'm like, this was a lot on my spirit. This is a lot, because my father passed away suddenly in 2016. And so now I have this uh, pressure that I put on myself, that my mother is like, you're not my mother. I am your mother. That I feel like I need to know everything now,
Yeah.
And so when you were telling me about this, I was like, oh, I didn't even I just didn't even think about it because it wasn't on my radar. It was a complete,
Right.
complete surprise.
And most people don't plan. Most people plan to get into their forever home.
Mm-hmm,
This is
mm-hmm,
where they're forever going to be.
mm-hmm,
Well, we're living a whole lot longer, and there's resources to help us keep healthy for a lot longer. At
mm-hmm,
some point in time, we can't stay in our house. We will
mm-hmm.
need more care. We will need flat surfaces. I can't have a step down like I got here. That's very dangerous for people
Yeah.
who have, as you get older, your balance changes, like
Mm-hmm,
you're on different medications. So we, we as a society haven't planned for after your forever home.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And most families just don't even pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Definitely
Oh,
not even a thought.
right. And a lot of people, what's funny is I found in the senior living space, a lot of people are in this business because they've gone through that with their grandparents or their parents.
Hmm.
So they want to
So
make it better for everybody else.
so what does marketing look like to, I guess, to reach the people that you're, ultimately going to help?
So I do a lot of networking in person.
Hmm.
I build those relationships with the senior living communities, with the placement agents, with the elder law attorneys, um, with the home health, even the hospice companies. I go to these events. I'm at 5 or 6 a month, um, and I also do one-on-ones. One-on-one, because sometimes when you get up and you give your 30-second
Hmm.
speech, everybody's like, what do you do?
Hmm.
And if it's not clear that this is exactly what you do,
Hmm.
I've learned to boil it down to, I buy the house. I buy the house. And they're
Hmm.
like, oh, okay, so you're a realtor. And I'm like, no,
Nope.
not a realtor. I'm a realtor on the team, but I buy the house. And it's those one-on-one conversations, building those relationships with other people in the senior living space, and then they're like, oh, I have a family that they're going through this problem right now.
Hmm.
Can they call you? And I'm like, yes. Can I call them? Like,
Hmm.
whichever way is going to
That's
be the
what you want,
easiest.
right? Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Ideally, I would like to call them, but I get it. I don't always want people to preemptively call me when I'm not ready. So
Hmm.
it's working with those people in those companies. A lot of times they're smaller companies, sometimes they're bigger companies,
Hmm.
but you find your tribe of people, frankly, and to,
Hmm.
to use that term. I have a couple different groups that I work with, and I build those relationships. I volunteer with them. I help out at events.
Hmm.
I just become friends and build that relationship. So then when it's time and they know a family needs that help, they know I'm here. And
Right.
that's not how a lot of people do it, and that's okay. But that's where I'm good at it. I'm
Right.
good at building those relationships and
Hmm.
making friends, and I really like to be out amongst everybody. I like
Okay.
to be at the events and having a good time. I mean, I got the pink hair. I gotta have fun. Gotta
Right.
have fun.
Right. You told me the story behind that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, uh, corporate America. Let's go back to the corporate days. I have been a marketer from day one. So I've
Hmm.
been in marketing all the time. And as I got older, my clothing became very drab. It was black, white shirt, or gray. There was no color. It was
Hmm.
just very blah. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm gonna put pink in my hair, or purple or blue. It was great. And nobody said anything. they're like, oh, I love it. And I'm like, good. And then I started getting bright colors, bright colored jackets. I have a really bright green one. I have a bright
Mhm.
pink one,
Mhm.
red. I
Mhm.
started to be that colorful person because that is who I am.
Mhm.
I don't like all this drabness and just
Mhm.
corporate is blah by itself. And I'm in
Yeah.
marketing. Dang it. It should be fun.
Right.
So I just started putting color in and I enjoyed it. And I kind of figured out which colors do best. And pink really is the easiest and the best color for me. So I'm like,
Mhm.
that's it.
Works. Well, I like it because it allowed you to brand yourself. And
And I didn't even
so
think about that. I just wanted, I was a rebel,
right, I just
bucking the
want to buck the
system.
system. Yeah, I just want to
Yeah.
buck the system. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's totally it. I remember I've been a dental consultant, and the guy that owned the company, he was way shorter than me. I'm 6'1". He probably was 5'9". I don't know. And so I love color as well, and I had this big hair. I love wearing bright lipstick. I'm already 6'1". I have heels on, and we're on stage because we have to do like this little skit together. And
Yeah.
somebody said, like, he lets you go on stage with him being that much taller than him. I'm like, he has no choice.
Let me,
Right.
excuse me.
He doesn't have a choice.
You either get me or you don't. Like,
Right, exactly. This is a part of, well, first of all, me being tall, I came out the womb being marketable. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
there's nothing I can do about that. So I just added all the other stuff to it. But it makes people, I mean, it totally makes people remember you.
Yeah.
Because when you show up somewhere, they're like, I may not remember her name, but she has the pink hair. Oh, I remember her. And
Yeah.
so it's definitely memorable, especially in a business like that, because it allows them to have an easy recall of
Yeah.
who you are, and branding for your business. So I do like that part of it. I love that part of it. So what does success look like for you, and how do you celebrate success?
Um, those are hard questions.
Is
Um, a little bit. I guess because it's hard to, sometimes you don't realize that you need to stop and celebrate. You're
it?
like, okay, got it, carry on, keep
Hmm.
going, next, climbing that hill. Um, but celebrating is very important, and you have to kind of slow down and go,
Yeah.
look at what I just did. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty dang cool.
Yeah.
Um, Success for the future for Aunt Ida's house, I want to help both families on the front end and on the back end.
Hmm.
It'll take some capital, and we're a newer company. We aren't there yet, but I want to be able to help the seniors get out of that house, get into a new place. They still get money. I get money as a business. And then I turn around and I get the house ready
Hmm.
to go for another family. And I would owner finance for the family. And
Ah.
these are people that, you can look at their credit and they're fine, but they can't walk into a Chase or a Bank of
Hmm.
America. And maybe they look different because they own their own business.
Hmm.
And Bank of America is like, no, sorry,
Nope.
get out. I want to be able to help those families get that piece of American pie. They
Hmm.
get their own house. I want to eventually get there.
That's pretty cool.
Right now, it's helping. I think I want to get for this year. This is year number 2. I want to get to 12 families that I've helped buy their house. I help
Hmm.
many more people throughout the year, and then keep going up. And I want a small team. I want about at most 4 people
Hmm.
eventually, and
Hmm.
have a team that goes out and does the networking, because you need time to
Yeah.
be out, and that takes a lot of time, especially drive time around here. I mean, it's
Right. A whole lot
DFW.
of right. You got to plan it strategically around where am I going to be. No,
Right.
so because you have a bubbly, not I wouldn't say bubbly, but you have a personality that people are drawn to. How do you make sure that when you hire those 4 people that they still have that magnetic um energy or spirit that you have?
I will let you know when I get there. No, I make sure that I gel with people. And
Mhm.
even when I hired on my own team back in corporate, I had a team of 5. I did the interviews, I look at their skills, but really, how do we gel?
Mhm.
How are we going to work together? Are you are you the go-getter? I want a go-getter. Um, but if you're afraid and you're going to stand back in that corner,
Mhm.
this is not it. Now, if you are my analyzer and you're in all the numbers or you're in the website, that's
Yeah.
the role for you.
Right. Right. Right.
But out in public, I need you to be outgoing. Usually I'm drawn to somebody with fun hair
Mhm.
and bright colors, because that's just the type of person in my mind that you need to be. You
Mhm.
need to be outgoing. And if you're a wallflower in the marketing space, that's in my opinion, that's not the thing. That's
It's
not what
not
I would hire for.
that. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. And so, I don't know if I asked you this question, but because I'm always curious as to, we talked about the first name was Shirley after your grandmother, and that
Uh-huh.
was that was a small obstacle that you were able to overcome. Are there some larger obstacles that you had to overcome, and if so, an example of how you were able to do that in your business?
Sure. Um, the the real estate portion. The real estate
Mm-hmm.
portion. I
Mm-hmm.
bought my own house in 2013, and that was the last time I really got into buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
I needed support on the real estate side. I didn't need support on how to build relationships and go to networking events and build contacts.
Mm-hmm.
That was super easy. And apparently, getting the leads has been easier for me than other people because I went through an advisory group and I said, "Oh, well, getting the leads isn't hard." And everybody's like, "Excuse me?" And I'm like, "I'm just friends. Like I treat people like they're my bud and we're friends and we're going to go have coffee.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I treat everybody."
Mm-hmm.
And so getting leads wasn't the hard part. And everybody's like, "Well, that's the hardest part." And I'm like, "No, I need help analyzing and getting into homes and understanding what I'm doing."
Mm-hmm.
I met a gentleman through my advisory group and we've partnered together and he's been a great mentor to help me. Um, I went out on a few and I just didn't feel very comfortable with my numbers. And I met him and we partnered together and he's helped me grow and, you know, grow my own wings and fly on my own. And I still go to him for questions, but
Mm-hmm.
it was that support from somebody else in the business who believes the same thing that I do in how you help the seniors. And he's in the senior space. He does what I do, just more on the Tarrant County side.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I still need his help. But it's the mentorship, it's asking for help. That was the
Yes.
biggest thing. Girl, I was so nervous because I had done a couple houses before and I would
Mm-hmm.
stay up for hours. And my mom's like, "You've got to get past some of this." And I just didn't want to screw up. I
Yeah, because
didn't want to
the
screw up.
numbers can be intimidating because they're like, I mean, obviously, if you don't get the numbers right on the front end,
Yeah.
it is, it has a
You're
huge
gonna make
impact.
you're gonna make $100 on this deal when you should have made quite a bit more.
Right.
He and I had coffee and I was like, "Oh, I'm evaluating this house." He goes, "Well, let me know if you need help." And I got home and I was looking at the numbers and I'm like, "I need help."
Mm-hmm.
And that just opened up my world.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like I was like, I'm a big girl. I can do things.
Right.
I can do it all. I'm a fixer. I can fix it all. Like I got this.
Right.
But dang, we need to ask for help.
Absolutely.
And he came out and he was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's here. I'll do you want me to come up to the house?" I go, "Yeah,
Yeah, I
let's
do.
do this." And so from then on, he helped me realize that I can get some help. Not he didn't tell me that. I was like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
has been the best." Like just helping me get to that
Mm-hmm.
next step.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, and
and
I think
learn.
that's the one thing is that, as an entrepreneur, we come in with an idea of what we want to do, but there are so many other things that have to happen in order for us to do that one thing
Right.
that we want to do, and we may not be proficient at those other things, and you have got to either you got to ask, you got to figure it out, or you got to
Right.
hire, or you got to ask, and definitely having somebody to be able to share to help you with that is definitely a big, that's a huge part of it. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah, I feel very honored that I was able to find somebody that would go out with me. And in the real estate space, there's quite a few people that are willing to go. And as long as you come up and you're open
Hmm.
to feedback and you're open to just, you're a nice person. You're not coming in there saying, I know all the things.
Mm.
Nobody then wants to hang out with you. But when you come out and you're honest and you're open and you share like what's happening, people like to help. Let them help you, because they may know more than you and can help you get over that hurdle. And that's really what got me to the next step. And I was like, okay, all right, it's scary. It's super scary, but that's okay. One, I'm not holding somebody's heart in my hand.
Hmm.
I'm looking at a property. I'm not, nobody's dying. Nobody's dying.
Hmm.
So
Right.
you just have to think about that, of, you know, just asking for help.
That's
And so that's
well,
my
no,
my words of wisdom. Be
that
nice, ask for help.
Hey, those are good words of wisdom. Okay, so as we wrap up, how can someone contact you that is either looking, to sell their parents' home, or they, looking for information? How does one reach out to you or connect
Sure.
with your company?
I have a website. It's auntidashouse.com. And we're on social media. We've got Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all Aunt Ida's House. And then I don't know if you put up details, but I'm happy to share like my phone number and website so people can link
Yeah.
directly to
Yeah,
it. But
absolutely. Yeah, I will definitely put it in the description, but definitely if you feel comfortable putting it out there, hey, go ahead.
okay, all right. Phone number 817-761-0007. That's my phone number.
That's a good
Call me.
number. Yeah, that's a good number.
I hadn't really paid attention to it's like 0007. And somebody goes, "Oh, you're kind of like 007, but you're 0007." I was like, "Oh, I love it.
I
I
like
love it."
it. I love
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
love it. Okay, so you told us how to find you. Oh, are there certain areas that you service?
Oh, sure. I stick to Collin County, some of Dallas County, like northern Dallas County,
Mhm.
Denton County, and I'll go out and around. But yeah, I'm not going all the way to Oklahoma. That's a little far for me. But usually Collin County, Dallas County, a little bit of Tarrant County, but most of
Mhm.
that is the gentleman that I work with. I'm like, here's, yeah,
That is
yeah,
really
he got
good
that.
because somebody just reached out to me before this, and they're in Oklahoma, and the old me would have said, "Oh, I can help them." The new me
Yeah.
goes, "You know what? No, I can't.
I
I'm gonna
started
have."
out doing that. I started out saying, oh, I can go all the way up there. It's very different when you're in rural areas
Mhm,
compared
mhm,
to in,
mhm,
I'm in North Dallas. I'm in Frisco, the Colony. It's
mhm.
very different.
Very
And I'm
different.
like, oh yeah, no, I don't have resources for that yet. But yeah, so Collin County, Dallas County, Denton County. Those are
Cool.
usually my areas.
All right. Well, Jules, I so appreciate you saying yes to being on the Fruition Factor. I love that we
Thanks,
got it
Lamika.
together. This is pretty
Yes.
cool. Yes, this is pretty cool. So, guys, be sure to check out Jules at auntidashouse.com. Whether it's you or if you know someone that is, in the need of that, it's a great business. And like I said, we met while we were working on our business, so that part I love about it. But so let us know in the comment section if you have any questions, and I'll look forward to seeing you with another great entrepreneur. Until next time.